What's your name?
My name is Valerie Picard. Picard. My friends, they don't like it when I pronounce my name in English.
Okay. And the reason that I'm interviewing you is that your company,
Yeah.
which is,
Monsieur Ed, which is a publishing house based in Montreal. We do children's literature, mostly illustrated literature. We just won the best publisher of children's literature for North America 2022 at the Bologna Bookfair.
right,
So,
that's why I'm here. Well, let's start off with,
well, I'm the publisher, so I really work with all the authors and all the illustrators to put the book together and just work on their idea or generate new ideas for new books.
okay,
But I also write and illustrate myself, but I don't have that much time to do it. So, but I've done a couple of books, and sometimes I collaborate with, like I've collaborated with Marianne Ferrer previously, where I wrote words for her stories. So it's not the same as me writing a story and then her illustrating it. It's the other way around. She presents the story to me, and then I say, okay, I'm going to put it into words for you because she speaks many languages. So, well, she's more of an illustrator than an author, but we're working on that right now.
okay. And so, how did you get into this business to start with?
I was working as a art director in advertising and design in different agencies here in Montreal. And I had been freelancing for a while also because I was tired of, you know, going to work, always the same place and everything. I needed this sort of freedom with my schedule. And one of my clients was a publisher of children's literature. And I discovered what it was. And it just, like, I fell in love with it because it mixed. I had a passion for writing and illustrating, and I didn't know which one to do or which one to focus on. And when I discovered children's literature, I realized that both can be done at the same time. And when I was a designer, also I used to work a lot with type and words in my designs. So, like, just making a book is all of these things that I love put together. And so we had the opportunity to start the publishing house because of a, I don't know if I should say this, but it's known, but it's because the company that we were working with, oh, I don't know how to say this in English actually.
Bankruptcy?
Yes,
Yeah.
they went bankrupt temporarily because it was bought out. I get the bankruptcy.
Okay.
And so that put us in a situation where we had to think about what we wanted to do. Like, it was me and another girl named Alice Leonard, who we founded the publishing house together.
And what year was that?
It was 2014, but we didn't publish right away. Our first book came out in 2016. And so, yeah, we were faced with this. What do we want to do? We love doing this, or we're going to go work for somebody else. I was at a point in my life where I was like, I think, close to being 40 or already 40. And I thought, hey, I don't want a boss anymore, you know?
Yes.
I want to create my own work. I don't want to be at the mercy of what's available as a freelancer, what can I do and everything. So I wanted to build something. And that's why we got into it. Also, that's more of the technical, like, opportunity side of the thing. But as we were working on the books for this other editor, we had some, I'll say, difference of opinion or a different vision of what literature for kids should be or what we wanted it to be. And that's also the reason why we founded Monsieur Ed, because we thought, let's do this our way. Let's not be afraid to show children different kind of illustrators or different kinds of stories. Let's not be afraid to talk about death or talk about,
That's what a lot of fairy tales are about, is death. Just dealing with the fear of living,
yeah,
things that you come up against.
exactly.
Illness.
Yeah, all those things but I guess, and this is something that I saw when I went to Bologna, the market, the children's book market, or the offer is very different in Europe. The illustrators or the art that they choose is something, things that we wouldn't show our kids here,
Like what?
Well, let's say the maturity of the visual art itself. Here we tend to be like very cutie, very colorful. So the way they talk to kids in the books, or the way that the subjects that they're not afraid to talk about. I just have death. We do this here, but it's just the way.
They're more direct, is that it?
Yeah, maybe that might be it.
They're not, so they don't use euphemisms, or they don't
Yeah.
put little soft edges to...
Yeah, I feel like they're not afraid to say things as they are, and they're not afraid to show monsters or naked characters. Maybe the level of maturity. I just bought the rights for a book right now, and was working on it with my assistant, and I thought, okay, this book is for 3 years and older, and she saw it for an older audience, like 6 maybe.
6, okay.
But because she thought, well, the humor is something that little kids won't know. Like, they won't know that tears contain salt and things like that. And I thought, well, I think maybe it's because it's a European book. I think, like, visually I see it. Some books that I really like are super dark and super artsy, and I think for our market, this is not a book for kids,
And who is your market again, primarily?
Well, children from the age of, I will say, 0, 1 to perhaps 12 for the moment, because
Okay.
I'm also doing like some graphic novels. My range will stretch over time, but right now this
is what the focus is?
Yeah.
And is it primarily Quebec that your market has been?
Yeah.
And in French?
Yeah. I'm not exporting to French Europe right now, because you need the government grant structure behind you to help you with that.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, it costs a lot of money to sell directly into Europe, and right now I don't have any grants or any help from the different organizations that all the publishers have.
So is it the province and the federal government that... so you would like to get that, I assume?
Yes, yes. I've been told that you cannot survive as a publisher without those. So,
But you've been in business for 6 years.
Yes, but I don't pay myself.
But you do survive. You do
Yeah.
survive, because I see some food in the house here.
Yeah. Well, because I used to work in advertising, so.
Oh, you're living off your savings. Oh, you work like I work. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was talking with other publishers about poetry, and even if they have a lot of history behind them, they still have to work someplace else to get their salaries.
Yes.
So I guess in a way I'm lucky to be able, because doing illustrated literature is quite expensive, and so in a way I am able to just carry on doing that, and and I think it's going well.
Well, you won this big award, so
Yes.
So how did you do that? How do you? What did the judges say? Like, why did they like your stuff so much?
Well, the thing is, you don't meet them, and the way it works is other publishers or other people from the publishing industry, they submit your what's the word?
Portfolio or your candidacy?
Yeah, your candidacy. It was a surprise for me when I received the email from somebody I was talking to. Ok, Benjamin, arrête là. Il faut qu'on S'il te plaît, ça suffit. Ça suffit. I don't know what's wrong with the... So,
he knows, he or she knows that there's a microphone on. That's that's the story.
so I received like, oh, congratulations, you're on the finalist for the Bob. And I was like, what? You must have made a mistake. I didn't understand.
Right.
I had to check. I checked on the website. I was like, really? I can... There's a microphone, Benjamin. Arrête. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll try that.
Sure.
I don't know what's wrong with it. Qu'est-ce que tu veux? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Qu'est-ce que tu veux? Hein? Tu peux t'arrêter si je te donne ça?
What's that?
Just fish oil.
Oh, fish oil that makes it tastier?
Oh, he's addicted to it now.
Oh,
I
okay.
gave it to him for his coat.
To make it shinier?
Yeah.
Okay.
But now he's like really annoying. So, what was I saying? Yeah, the Bob. So it was a surprise.
Yes.
And so, and the way it works is your peers vote for you. So all the publishers, all the agents that go to the book fair.
There's a display and they get to see your stuff and they vote on that?
I don't know how they do it actually, because I sent, I think, 2 or 3 books for the display. Maybe they go have a look at the website and what we produce, or maybe it's, I've always been told is people have to know you. So, you know, I've been networking since the beginning, trying to sell rights.
Yes.
And I have an agent, so maybe, and also my agent, once we got the news, my agent started sending newsletters to everybody she knew and stuff like that with our catalog and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really met anybody. I never spoke to, I don't know who gave Monsieur Ed's name to the committee? No,
yeah, committee's good.
Committee. Yeah.
So, why did you win?
Well, I don't know specifically, but it's an award that celebrates the quality of the work in terms of literally and graphically. And I think that if you look at the past winners, and from what I heard when I was over there, they tend to favor like smaller, edgier publishers with gutsier. Because I was like, oh my God, am I really gonna win? Because there were bigger publisher from North America with me in the category.
Yeah. How many people work with you?
Oh, it's me.
It's just you?
It's me, and then I have an assistant. She does 25 hours a month.
Okay. And you went up against some bit bigger ones.
Yes,
Okay.
and when they called out Monsieur Ed's name and it appeared on the big screen,
Yes.
It took me a minute. Like I was like, oh wow, I have to go up and get my little thingy. I didn't expect to get it this early in Monsieur Ed's life.
How many books have you published in total so far?
I think we have 20. Yeah, at the end of the fall we're gonna be at 20. I keep saying 24, but I counted yesterday and I think it's gonna be 23. So because I think one got pushed, so 23. Yeah, so I didn't think that
No.
I would get it. Plus, I've never physically taken a booth at the fair, but I'm gonna do this starting now. Physically be there. So I was really surprised, but yeah. So a couple of people.
Yeah, we might want to. Can we close the door on him, or that's gonna freak? That's gonna freak him
Oh,
out.
he's gonna.
He'll-
Benjamin. So.
Yeah.
Usually he's quiet and he sleeps.
It's time to go to sleep.
Shh, ça suffit là. Va te
Well,
coucher.
maybe we should feed him. Like, do you have any sleeping pills you could break up into that food? Is
Yesterday it was so quiet because I gave him a big bone and he ate it all. And
okay, maybe he was all flaked out yesterday. Now he's all wired up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
he wants to go outside, so he's all
Oh,
excited and he like.
How long do you
stirred.
want to go outside for?
Oh, I don't know. Depends.
Oh, do you want to take him out?
No, well, unless it's really annoying for you.
No, it's not annoying. It's just I'm just a bit concerned about the listeners being annoyed. That's all.
Hi, listeners. This is my dog, Benjamin.
There we are.
The little chihuahua.
Does Benjamin get into any of the books?
No, but I have a story based on him that I want to do one day.
Okay.
About him, because I live right in near the river, and where they do the fireworks.
Oh yes, okay.
And it gets so loud because there's a big building at the back, and it resonates, and the building sometimes trembles.
Yes.
And so it's, and dogs are afraid of fireworks, so it inspired a story. So, but I have a long list of projects that I want to do myself, but it's just, I need time to get there because I work on other people's projects mainly. So, because I work doing the books for everybody else I publish. I do the editorial work. So I work with the authors and on the text to make it better, make the structure work. Like Monsieur Ed is the publisher, and then I have different people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we still haven't gotten to
Yeah.
Why do you think what do you think they saw in what you're doing that is so good?
Well, I think the quality of the work, which is something that is very important for me, the physical book, the choice of material, the care that I take doing the type inside the book, or even the credit page, our credit page is not like this straight boring credit page. I write a text to incorporate all the people who worked on the book, but it's kind of a little story, so it has a little flair, all the little details. Well, I think it's just the overall editorial vision, the choices of the books themselves, the stories, the themes, the choices of illustrators. Like I try to go and find people that are a bit different to bring a bit of diversity on the Quebec market.
What's a good example of that?
One book that is not a bestseller, it's hard for this market, it's called Ice Cream Melts Faster in Hell, and it's a book that I wrote, and it's a funny book about fears, And the illustrator, his style is something that we had never seen before on our market. It was like more cartoonish, or...
Do you have a copy of it here?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at it.
There's.
And if there's another one you're particularly proud of, or that you think is the cat's ass, let's look at that. Oh, goodness. That's great.
So I think maybe they saw a willingness to transgress something.
Yes. Transgress is good.
Yeah.
Boundaries?
Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm... Oh no, you can't play with that. That's really loud. Mais jamais. Baby, non. Je m'excuse, mon petit chien. Qu'est-ce que je peux faire? Monsieur, va manger ça. Ok, va manger ça. Go. Okay. I'm gonna have a couple of minutes. Yeah, and it's hard to know what other
people are seeing.
But one of the things that I often get is, well, your books are beautiful. Okay, fine.
Yes.
But your books are a bit edgy, osé. Not edgy, it's daring.
You were interested in how the European books addressed things like death and illness very directly, but you think that you do that as well?
Yeah. I tend towards it because I don't want to... Okay. So before we started Monsieur Ed, I think the market was what was very popular were really soft illustrations, cute pastel colors.
Tame.
Yeah, things that I liked also.
Yes.
I'm not saying that we only Monsieur Ed changed the market.
No, no.
There are other publishers in the last few years. There have been a couple of really good independent children's publisher popping up in Quebec. So all of these people have contributed to diversifying the offer that we have here. But when we started and when our first book was, well, actually I don't have the first one, but I have the second of the series.
Okay.
It's about a dirty villain that smokes and who has really stinky breath. And it's like an illustrated novel. And so that was like, oh, wow, okay.
Who wrote this?
This is written by Marthe Pelletier and illustrated by Richard Ecrapou. And he has this very specific style. He's also adult comic book artist.
Yes, it looks quite grown up.
Things like smoking a cigar in a children's book, it was like, oh, you can't do that. But it's actually, it gives him super bad breath, which becomes kind of when people talk to him, he smells so bad that people faint. So it's kind of, everything is absurd and funny. And then we came out.
And what age was that directed at?
That's 6 and up. There's nothing that a 5-year-old couldn't read. But there's a lot of text, so it's for, like first readers. And it's super popular. This is our very popular series. The first book of this series I've reprinted twice already.
What's it called?
Méchant Far West.
That's the first one, and the second one is just Méchant Far West 2.
Yes.
Yes, I see.
So there's a subtitle too, like it's Méchant Far West. Like I translated it like Mischief in the Wild West, the villain who wanted to be a supervillain. So that's the first book. It's about a villain who's stuck in a storybook about villains. Yeah. And he wants to win at the end because he's tired of that it's always the good guy that wins at the end.
It's kind of meta.
Yep.
It's making fun of the genre.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes, and he will change the course of his story by changing something that he usually does on page 39, let's say. Okay. And he will be able to change the ending, but maybe not win because there's a number 2 and a number 3, and so that was kind of different.
What did you want to get at with the reader? Like, what did you want that 6-year-old to you obviously you got into his or her head, but like, what was your thinking when you saw it and you thought, yes, this is good? Yeah. Why did you think it was so good?
I just love the humor in it. It's very fun, and I love the different levels. I love the story within the story. Also, this one we have a peculiar story with it because we actually started this book when we worked at the other publishing house before it went bankrupt.
Okay.
So we had done the whole layout and everything. Me and the person I started Monsieur Ed with.
And you figured you don't want this to go down with the bankruptcy.
Yeah, and the author recuperated her rights, and we thought it was fun. We thought it was different. We thought, the illustrator also, we had never seen this kind of visual for kids, and I don't know. We felt that it represented well where we wanted to bring our catalog, something different, something edgy, and all the type is handwritten.
Yes, it's funny. I just interviewed, her name is Nora Krug, and she illustrated a really important book called On Tyranny. And her book is all sort of lowercase printing, the whole thing.
Okay, no.
No, there's lots of images and illustrations, but she got a font done for that because she didn't want to have to write everything out, right? And they had 4 different versions of the font, and they, each one was rotated so that it looked like it was real. The S wasn't all the same. But anyway, so that's what this reminds me of. But this looks a bit like Mad Magazine. It's your most successful, is it?
One of, and actually, just a little side note, all our books, well, I'm going back to the things that we do differently and the details.
Yes. Why you're so good. Why you won.
All our books, all the books are handwritten. The text is always handwritten, so it's not all of them, but some of them are different, for this one, because it's a Western, we wanted it to be dirty and crooked and, have this vibe to it. Another one, which I didn't bring down because it's not an original book, it's a book that we bought the rights, but all the letters are different size, some are inverted and things like that, because I approached the text as being part of the image, so it needs its own personality. It needs to fit the
tone.
Yeah. And so that's why that's one of the little things that we do differently. So, I think if you look at everything that we've published, I think that you can see, I don't like to say edgy.
This is what I want to get at, though. This is why I wanted to interview you.
Yeah.
Is I'd like to understand why you're so good at what you do. So I need to know your thinking process and
I don't have one, that's the thing. So it's very hard for me to explain.
Yes.
Because everything comes from inside. I just know what I have to do.
Like I know it's instinct, but it's subconsciously you've got lots of things in your brain to call upon, and they must have gotten there somehow.
There's a lot of things that I do everything, right? So from getting a manuscript to making it look like this. What you're describing is something that I feel when I work on a text.
Right.
When I receive a manuscript, I read it, and somehow I know where there's something missing in the plot, where we need more action, when we need more of this, when we need to slow down. And when I work on a manuscript, what I do is I see it in my head, and I often will describe the image that can go with the text to help the author rewrite.
That's interesting. So you'll read it, and then you'll visualize how it might be illustrated, and then you'll tell the author, I'm thinking of putting a cactus in here. Well, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, okay, here we're going to see what could happen is this. The character goes to blah, blah, blah. And then, so it helps them visualize also what could be on the page, and then work their text accordingly, so there are no doubling of the text and the image.
I see. So it's you don't want the text to say something, and you just literally illustrate what the text is saying.
We need this complementary, so this dialogue between the image and the text. So when I work on a text like this, I feel like it's almost natural or intuitive, but I know that I have a bunch of things that I've done in my life, from reading, I watched a lot of TV and a lot of movie, and the structure of a 30-minute TV show, the way it's done, the jokes, how to set up a punchline, how to set up like tension to get to that point. If you're in humor or if you're in a mystery, how to set those things up. I think unconsciously taking all that baggage from everything that I've read and seen and analyzed without my knowing.
Yeah.
So that part of the work, I feel that. And then the design part is different. It's more like I put something on the page and I feel good or not. And then I move it, I make it bigger, and I feel good or not.
Right.
It's kind of that I don't illustrate. Well, I did one book for me that I illustrated, but most of the time. Then once I'm done with the manuscript, of course I've seen it in my head like a movie for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Then I try to find the illustrator that I saw, in the style that I saw, or the illustrator that will give the book not its soul, but in a way, yes, because you can have a funny text, but have an illustrator that does something very, not serious, but
I know what you mean.
the mood can change depending on the visual style.
So as part of what you need to do then, you need to have a really good understanding of all the different illustrators that you can call upon.
Yes.
So how many are there that you know about?
Not enough. I mean,
like how many?
Well, I could maybe off the top of my head name not a lot, maybe 20, 25.
That's still quite a few.
Yeah, but then I know visually a lot other people that I can't remember their names. And then, I mean, with the internet, it's endless, the portfolios, the agents, for the ice cream melts faster in hell.
Yes.
I must have looked at, I don't know, like 500 illustrators, because I wanted someone who could go a bit like Tim Burton-esque. So you go in as scary, but still quirky and funny, because you don't want it to be too scary.
Yeah.
So I needed that balance.
Right.
And some illustrators I found were way too scary, and others were too cutie,
So that's you would say that would be one of your top skills then, is to being able to match a manuscript with a range of different potential illustrators.
I guess I always thought that all publishers or editors needed to be able to do that.
But it's particularly with children's books, it's crucial.
Yes. Well, to me it is, because it can really change, the tone of the book, what you're seeing, the direction in which you want to pull the book. Like if you have any text, you have a cute poetic text, and you do it in something quirky like this, it becomes something else than if you do it with, super. So, and it's really about your editorial line, what you want to say with your books and what your publishing house is about. So,
and so what is your publishing house about?
That's the part that I have a hard time describing.
Do you have like a mission that, I want to make sure kids become good citizens, or
no, I don't.
No, you want them to be challenging authority,
yes.
Or you want what do you want your kids
I want them
to grow up into?
I want them to know themselves enough to be able to question things that don't seem right to them, or that people think that you should do, but that's not how you feel. So I want them to learn to have a critical thinking. Also, it's really important for me to know who you are and to accept who you are. I don't think that's something that anyway, my generation is not something that we were raised to believe in. There were a lot of rules. I'm a bit of a rule breaker.
But it strikes me that this generation isn't quite like that. This not the one you're talking to, but now obviously racism is wrong and equality is important.
Yeah.
But also being able to speak directly about these topics is important too. Do you touch on this at all?
No, I don't want. No, it's not that I don't want to. I don't want it to make it the topic of a book. I make books to entertain, and so I won't make a book about racism, but I will make a book with people and show diversity of body, diversity of color, or a book by Aboriginal authors, or anybody who has a project that I'm interested in. I really don't. I mean, I'll publish
Yeah,
what
anything
I
that you
find
think
good.
is, yeah.
Yeah. Some books, like for example, this one is about death. It's super cute and it's all symbolic. So there can be a book about you have to be nice to people who are different, but it's not gonna be about it's bad to be racist, you know? For me, books are there to open conversation because these books are mostly for kids who don't know how to read. So you're gonna be reading with your child, and it's a good way to talk about things with them and say, you know, like in the book this happened, what do you think this means? And it's a reference point, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time it's fun, and I always make my book in a way that when I ask something from the illustrator, my thinking behind it is, if a kid doesn't know how to read, I want this person to be able to have fun just looking at the pictures and even maybe understand the story just looking at the pictures. So yeah, I will, as I said, because this is just not the kind of books that we do. I don't know how you say that in English, but there are publishing houses that do engagé, la littérature engagée. I don't know how to say that, which is more about books about the environment or
Yes.
genocides or slavery or things like that.
Yeah.
What I want to do is just make it normal to have like a family with two mothers, or a family with.
You don't even want to really comment on it. You just want
No,
to
it's there,
have it there.
because that's the way it is in life, you know. And I think it's a part of our job also to represent the reality of, well, most of the characters in the books are animals, but when there are humans, I think the reality that the kids live in. And for me also, it's important for I find it very cute when it touches my heart when I see a little girl, like of, let's say, Jamaican descent, seeing herself in a book and say, oh, she looks like me. And that makes me realize how humans have this need to see themselves in things, which is something I probably never felt because I'm a white woman and I've been represented in everything, you know, all my life.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's something that I want to do. And I just want it to be normal, you know, just to have, like, as I said, represent diversity. But I don't want it to be a book about who talks about it. But it can talk about it, but through a story. I don't know if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's not a sort of a direct preaching kind of. But are you trying to convey a lesson of any kind in these books or not?
Some of them no, and in some yes, but it really has to be always subtle, you know, at the second level of reading.
Mm-hmm.
Like as I said, this one is about a book about the main character misses her pet bird who died, but we go through this adventure with them, and through the adventure she figures out that her bird has moved somewhere else where he's really well, because he has all the food that he likes, he has the friends and family, and there's a parallel between the living life and this new place where he lives. And at the end she understands that even if her pet is not with her anymore, she'll always have the memories they had together. You know, like if you read it just like that, it's just an adventure with two friends and one moved away. But if you read it and you've gone through loss, then you can understand that, oh, you know, it's true that when I had my dog, I loved taking my dog for walks, but now he's not there anymore, but I still had that memory of something nice that we had together. So but it never says that in the book. You have to feel it. Mm-hmm. And maybe talk about it, and maybe
you're leaving room for the adult, the parent, to discuss something. This, as you said, it prompts a conversation.
Yeah.
And do you think that's why your books have seen success? Stimulating, interesting conversation?
Yeah.
stimulating, important conversation about topics that are worth talking about?
Well, it's hard to reply to that because I don't. The feedback that I have mostly, as I said, is your books are beautiful.
Yes.
No, but some books, yeah, I think the subjects and the way that we talk about them.
Yes.
Like for this one, for example, it's about transcending your fears before it's too late, because if you don't do anything, you might end up dead and not having done anything in your life. So it's a weird way to go about it, and it's also very humorous, and the main characters are two little ghosts, and they're talking, and they're saying, oh, when I was alive, I was afraid of everything, and then we see the fears that this one had.
And it's funny, that one looks like Trump a little bit.
I know, everybody says that.
But and it's not the intention though, right?
No. And this is the Korean guy.
Yeah.
So we see the fears. And so I think it's just a different approach for people who have a different aesthetic, because that's also part of something that I want to do, and I want to introduce children to different world visions or different types of art also, because if you always see the same thing over and over again, you don't sort of expand your mind or your visual taste buds, you know? Even, like, I've worked with a lot of people from Montreal lately, Audrey Malo in particular. She's new, but she's getting to be famous.
Okay. Yeah. Are you doing this without any government funding at all, or are you getting some? No government funding at all. Wow. That's unheard of in Canada.
I know. I thought I was going to get it. The project won the last, well, they announced the founding results in September. I was like, hey, so I won the best publisher of the year.
Right.
But no, I guess it didn't work. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or maybe I'm not literary enough.
You talk about the prizes that you've won. That's what authors start off with, typically, in their biographies. But so you just have to every year you make an application and just hope you get money from these different levels of government? Is that it?
Well, the Canadian Council for the Arts.
Yes.
They have 2 levels of grants.
Maybe you don't have enough books, though. Maybe because
I have enough.
You have enough. Okay.
It's just probably the way that I word my submission, because I get enough to pass, but then I don't have enough points to get some money.
Oh dear. And what about Heritage Canada? There's another one, the book fund.
Yeah,
you apply for that?
I'm gonna be eligible at the end of fall, because the other 2, which is the Heritage Canada, and another one which is in Quebec.
Yes.
I need a certain a number of books and a certain type of books, which I don't have at the moment, but I will at the end be eligible for both in the fall. And then there's just the Canadian Council for the Arts, where I should be able to get some money, but I'm not getting any. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna try again. Maybe there's something that I'm always doing, or maybe I'm not. It's hard to understand these application forms and what they really want.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
just a quote about this is from Namrata Tripathi, who's a children's book publisher with Random House. Yeah. She's one of the imprints with Random House. And she says that picture books are a child's first introduction to poetry, to art, to visual storytelling. They establish for kids how the world works and their place in it. They're a primer on how to be a human. You agree with that?
Yes, for the most part. I would change the end and turn it towards, like I said previously, it allows them to know themselves and to understand themselves within the world, rather than their place in it, which to me feels again like more like there's a rule and little squares and things to be done a certain way. But the beginning, yes.
You like that?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, when you have a bunch of books like that, you can say, hey, I love this kind of aesthetic. I don't like this cutie, softy one. I'm more like in the, like this.
Yeah, you're almost developing a taste, aren't you?
Exactly. And that's part of having access to art, you know. That's how you know what you like, the colors you like, the kind of stories that you like.
And why is it important to know that?
I grew up surrounded by art. My mom is a painter and I painted, and I don't know, like my world is mostly made of art and beauty. I feel that it's everywhere, even in the places that we don't know, that we don't realize. Someone thought of doing something to make it balanced, to make it work, to make it efficient, to make it beautiful. Even nature it's a representation of it's maybe the first form of art. You know, when you look in a flower, some flowers are amazing, or insects, or the different colors and the shapes, and maybe it's not the taste, maybe it's just feel it. When you look at art, it's a moment where you can disconnect, you can just receive something and feel it, and through what you feel, then you can know who you are, what you understand about that particular piece, but that piece in the world and the world. Probably that's what I mean when I say taste. It's not like
well, you know what you like and what you don't like, and that's pretty important in your life.
When you communicate silently with the what you like and what you find beautiful, what brings you joy, and peace and love, you know, because that's what art does, I think, or harmony, that's what it does. You don't know it, but you feel well when you enter a room where everything is balanced and you resonate with it. So I guess that's what I want the kids to discover through deciding if they prefer this or green or blue or whatever, because that's what you're going to build your world with eventually, you know, even in the choice of a t-shirt or fabrics, or
knowing what gives you pleasure,
and what brings you joy, and what just flows through you rather than goes like ugh, you know, I don't like that color, or I don't like that, it doesn't resonate with me. Like one of my best friends, she loves like triangles, and I'm like, too sharp. So it's just in knowing how you react to the world, because oftentimes we're so disconnected, we're so occupied that we forget to, and then we start feeling bad, we don't know where it comes from. We forget to listen to how we react or how we resonate with what's around us. And I think reading or looking at something is just like a personal moment in a little bubble where you can take your time to feel that in a way, and as I said, that will translate into what you like. Of course, that's probably gonna change as you grow older, but it's a start, you know. and to be able to say, I like this or I don't like this, and I want this, I don't want this, or I, you know, and yeah. I think,
well, lots of people in adulthood, they talk about the most important books that they've read, and they often will go back to stuff they've read. Yeah. Just a couple more things here then. One is the kids from 8 to 12. These books get them when they're developing their sense of justice. So 10-year-olds care a lot about what's fair and what's right.
Wow, yeah.
Does that work for you?
I never thought about that.
Just in terms of their development, I guess that's when they...
But it's interesting to know. I don't know what to say because it's like new information.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to think, because right now I'm working on a book which is for that age range. Maybe that's why, you know, the book I showed you, The Mischief in the Far West, works well with them, because there's there's good and there's bad. The bad is not really bad, but there's a nuance also. You see that the villain is not so bad after all. He just wants to win. He wants to find love.
Yeah, he's just tired of losing, and
he wants his own, little joy also. So
yes. He's human, so give him a break.
So maybe that's why,
It's justice to let him win every now and again. Yeah.
And in the second volume, he has this the classic angel and devil thing, because he still wants to win at the end of his story, and he meets his nemesis, but there's this beautiful girl who he fell in love with, and he doesn't know which goal to pursue, and so maybe that's why it's such a success, because it really taps into those what's good, what's bad, or
just.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It's something to think about, actually.
Okay, so your wish is just to continue doing what you've been doing for the last 6 years, 7 years?
Yeah, yes and no. I want to grow a little bit. I'd like to, now I'm doing 6 books per year. I'd like to be able to do a bit more, maybe 8 or up to 12. And I would like to, as I said, I'm working on graphic novels, so I'm targeting, I don't like these words, but
marketing words.
Yeah, it's for an older audience, and I would like also to do novels, so like mystery novels. I love those.
Mm-hmm. So you'd like to spread out from children's to include
young adults, and maybe not just illustrated books, just also novels, because it's just captivating to dive into a story. And I remember reading when I was a kid, there wasn't that much available, so I read Agatha Christie or Nancy Drew. So that's one thing. And I eventually probably, like right now we're doing a foreign rights sale with my agent, but I probably would want to expand to another market. The obvious one is the European French market, but when we started the company, I really wanted it to be a bilingual publishing house, but it's difficult because it's not the same structure, distributors, and so it was almost like having 2 companies working at 2 different speeds. So I thought, let's do the French one well first, and then we'll see. So I don't know yet about that. I don't know if the kind of books that I do would do well on that market. I think the softer ones, like this, or this is one of my bestsellers. I've sold it to a Canadian, Canadian publisher.
Which one?
The Invisible Guard. The publisher?
Yeah.
Orca.
Oh, Orca.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And another one from this same author illustrator also, which I didn't bring down, but they tend to not go for books like this or that, So
what do you mean by this or that? The ones that are, quote, edgier?
Well, I think maybe it's just graphically, visually, maybe it doesn't work for, they tend to go for softer, maybe it's just their publishing line, I don't know how to say that.
Yes.
So they go for, softer visuals, softer stories, cuter stories.
Oh, come on! I think the English kids can handle it just as well as You think?
Oh yeah, of course.
But this is just the publishing house that you're dealing with, you're saying?
Well, that's what I noticed from them. They're more interested in, like, I know that I will present her this book. I will still present to her these books in the hopes that
yes.
that she will say yes.
This is Orca.
Yeah.
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 What about the States? Have you tried the States at all?
I haven't had any. Maybe my agent, but no, mostly France. This one we sold it to France, and I think they just took it as is, and maybe sometimes I buy rights from French publishers or Belgian publishers, and I change some words because I use a lot of English words
Here.
over there. Yeah, so or just different words than what we're used to, so we have to adapt it a little bit. Well, I do it. Not everybody does it. It's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's expand.
Expand, okay.
Expand and expand my offer and the age of the reader. I don't want to expand there.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The market. The market.
I'm trying to say it without saying the marketing words.
Yes. You want to publish some books for more young adults than you have in the past.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to reply to your first question. So why did I win the... Yeah. But I think the simplest answer is because of the way I do what we do. I think it's just, as I said, the choice of stories and the choice of visual and the little details that make it like a more of a... I should ask, next year I'll try to find somebody who voted for me.
Yes,
but for me, it's difficult to have this distance between me and what I do, and to talk about it and say, oh, this is great, because I feel like the books talk for themselves. They're great stories, they're talented people that put everything that they have in the books, and I aim to make the best looking book for them, so they're happy, and that book has a life, and that they can reach young readers, and they can enjoy it also. So
it's matchmaking too, isn't it? You're a very good matchmaker.
Yes, with the help of all the booksellers out there.
But matching between the writer and the...
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that maybe that is what sets us apart. Yeah. As I said, I think the way that we work the text, the angle we take with the subject, and then the match that we make with the illustrator then creates this final book, which is... I don't want to say different, as I said. I don't want to say edgy. I don't want to say quirky, because for me, they're pretty...
Yes.
They're what they are, but...
Well, it's kind of a magic. I mean, it's magic what happens in publishing, right? It's like you're putting these people... And also the relationship they have together, too.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that the illustrator gets along with the person that wrote the text. That's another thing, right?
That they understand, or they bring something also to the text. That's what there are fall books like this book. I had so much fun working on The Incredible Story of Number 3. Had a lot of fun working with the author, and then when the author is Danielle Chaperon, and the illustrator is Agathe Ribouret, and I went to her because I knew that she had a sense of humor from her Facebook post.
Okay.
And I thought, you'd be perfect for this. And she brought the book to another level. The choices she made, the things she chose to illustrate, the expressions of the characters.
It's wonderful, eh? Funny. Yeah. It's
super fun. That's a super fun book. And it was just, every time I received some of her work, I was just like, it's amazing. And I didn't know what to say, because it was just perfect,
Yeah. And again, it's because you made the right choice.
Yeah, I was very happy about that.
So the name of the company, the publishing house, is...
Monsieur Ed.
Monsieur Ed. Does that mean anything? Is it...
No. For me, it was just like a fun name, and also the fact that we were in the beginning all women, and I mostly work with women. I think it's fun. It's funny that we have the name of not the name of a man, but we're called like Monsieur Ed.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that gender bender thing.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, like for my past partner in the company,
Yes.
for her it meant like Mr. Editor, but at the same time it was like, you know, incarnating this very inaccessible image of the European old school male editor, but being this very neighborly, accessible character.
Okay.
And graphically also, coming from a design background and branding background, it was fun for me to have like a character with which I can talk and communicate. And I always have, like in the books, there's always a little quote, like the credits, like as I said, are always a bit funky. They're always a bit, because it's a boring page to read, so I try to make a little story. Yeah, this one is particular because it's illustrated. They're not all like that, but this one I felt that it went with the spirit of the book. And there's always a quote like Monsieur Ed, let's say this is a book about the number 3. Monsieur Ed can count to 1,000.
Yes.
Yeah, there's always or Monsieur this fearless, or there's always a.
There's a personality. There's a little.
Yeah.
It's a person.
So for me, this was when we started. I thought, okay, this gives me possibilities to play with this character, and so yeah, that's it's a boring answer, but it's hard to agree on a name when you start a business, you know, when you're not alone. And so I don't hate it. I wanted it to be, it was either that, for me, it was either that or ultra normal. Like, because we also wanted a name that could work. In the beginning also, we had a lot of ambition. We wanted it to be bilingual and...
Don't you still have a lot of ambition?
Yes.
Sounds like you do.
Step by step.
Yes.
So bilingual, and we also wanted to do literature for adults. So the name needed to work for all ages. But now it's hard to get the manuscript for adult literature because I'm so branded kids lit. So.
Are you're on your own now, or do you have a partner?
No, I'm on my own.
So why don't you just change it to your name?
No, because I don't no. I'm also an author. Like this one, I did the story and the illustration, so it'd be weird. It'd be like Valerie Picard by Valerie Picard.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you. I still feel like I haven't gotten to the thing that you wanted me to say. It's annoying.
Well, why don't we sit on it a bit? I'll say Valerie Picard is the founder and publisher at Monsieur Ed, publishing house based in Montreal. And what's the email or the website?
The website is www.monsieured.com. And on there you will see our catalog. There's a newsletter. There's an email to reach us. You can reach me. You can reach my assistant. And there's an email if you want to send your manuscript. And we also accept manuscripts in English because we can translate them.
Very good. Thanks again.
Thank you.